Hey guys, it's the WalterFootball.com After Dark show for October 27, 2023. We're going to do the Thursday thoughts for Week 8 NFL picks against the spread for this 2023 NFL season. Please hit like, subscribe, comment below, share this video, visit the link in the description for the merch store. All that would be appreciated. If you want to help support the show, word of mouth is the best way, so you can send this link to someone who might like the show and doesn't know about it. So it'd be great if you guys could do any of that. And if you guys have any comments, doesn't have to be about this. You can just leave it and I'll find it soon enough. I'm supposed to have a guest on tonight. Second Thursday in a row, kind of it got I missed out on this guest, but I think there was a miscommunication this time. I don't think I was like clear that he was supposed to be on, but I guess I'll find out soon enough. Anyway, congrats to anyone who had the Buccaneers plus 10 or plus whatever you had on Thursday night. Look, for a while like the Bills are going to cover, like even when it was like 24-10 for a while, like you're like, all right, fine, the Buccaneers are going to score. This backdoor touchdown looks so obvious, but then like the Bills stopped them on 2 4th downs on that drive, and they got bailed out by penalties. And like finally Mike Evans gets the touchdown. I thought it was a 50-50 game either way. Like I didn't like the Bills that very much because, with all those injuries, it kind of opened up the back door. And I even said on the show Tuesday, like, if this were a Sunday game, I definitely would have. I think I would have taken the Buccaneers. I wouldn't say definitely, but I think I would have taken the Buccaneers, just because like Thursday nights, it's just so tough for the worst teams to get up for a superior opponent because they don't have much practice time. Whereas like Sunday, the Buccaneers would have had enough time to have a good game plan, and I thought they would have kept it close. The Bills not really playing well. Josh Allen ran a lot. It's the first time we've seen that like all year basically. So that's a good sign for Buffalo, but the defense is still missing a lot of key personnel. So it's hard to feel too optimistic about this team despite this win tonight. But a win's a win, so like, Bills fans can't feel too upset. So yeah, let's get to this. Make sure I have the up-to-date lines here. So the Saints and Colts. The Saints are up to -1. I saw some sharp money coming in on the Colts on Wednesday, and I think that might have been because Alvin Kamara, or two reasons. First, Alvin Kamara missed practice Wednesday with an illness, and then also Chris Olave got arrested. We talked about that on Tuesday. I think it was more about Kamara, but Kamara returned to a full practice today or Thursday, so there's nothing to worry about there. And I think that's why this line may have moved back to Saints -1. I still like the Saints. I like that they'll have like a top 5 defense or top 10 defense at the very least to stop the Colts backup quarterback. Gardner Minshew has been a turnover machine, and I think that's just going to continue. So yeah, I think I like the Saints. It looked like they kind of maybe solved the red zone woes last week at the end of the game, where they scored a touchdown, and then they would have scored a second touchdown if Foster Moreau didn't drop that touchdown. I think that the Colts are, I believe they're bottom 10 in red zone defense. So seems like a good matchup here for the Saints, but like I said, sharp money came in on the Colts on Wednesday, so it's like a slight worry, but like I said, it might have been because of Kamara. Jaguars Steelers, I think that so the Jaguars are still -2.5. I think that there's a chance I might switch this pick to the Jaguars. Just like, first of all, there's sharp money coming in on there was sharp money coming in on Pittsburgh that's kind of evened out. But second, like, I just think that this might be one of the situations where we saw in week 3. It was like Tennessee and Cleveland, where we like Tennessee because Mike Vrabel is good as an underdog. He was a 3-point underdog against the Browns, and the Browns just trashed the Titans just because they were so much better than the Titans. I think that a case could be made that the Jaguars are just a lot better than the Steelers. I kind of like the Steelers too, like, especially when they're going to get Cameron Hayward back soon. I don't think it's going to be this week, but he's going to come back soon. They got Deontay Johnson back. He missed practice today, but I think that was for rest. So I just think that it's possible that the Jaguars are just out of Pittsburgh's class and they might kind of like stomp on them. But then again, like, I think Baltimore and Cleveland were as well, and the Steelers found a way to win. Like, those wins are so fluky though. Like, I don't know how that can continue. At the very least, I don't think I'm going to bet this game. I think I'm just going to get off of it, and not sure which side I'm going to pick. But like right now, I'm still in the Steelers, but just might just go to 0 units entirely. Houston, Carolina, this line I think is still 3. Let me see. Yeah, it's still 3. Shading toward 3.5 with the big at 3 minus 120. So I said on Tuesday I was thinking about changing to Carolina, and now I think I'm sticking with Houston. I'm just gonna go with my first instinct. Um, I just think Carolina sucks. Like I know they played some tough opponents. Like they've really had a tough schedule. So you could argue like this might be one of their easier games. Um, but I don't know. I still think Houston's definitely a lot better, despite their kind of fluky wins earlier in the year. And Houston's gonna be a team that just gets better with CJ Stroud, like continuously like improving. And the offensive line for Houston wasn't there in the early part of the year. It's kind of like crazy that they found ways to win despite that offensive line. I know they had, like I said, they had fluky games where they ran into competition that just wasn't focused, and so they got like 2 wins they shouldn't have against the Jaguars and Steelers. But I think like just gonna keep getting better. Like they're a young team and they're gonna keep improving. Tank Dell's gonna be back from concussion. So yeah, long story short, I'm on Houston, but not gonna definitely not gonna bet this game. Next game we have Eagles and Redskins. I know this line went to 7. So kind of not surprised. I think that might be a reaction to the Kevin Byard news, which is pretty big because, like I said, like I said on Tuesday, like the Eagles' big issue was being like not being able to cover. They were like, I think they're 17th in defensive EPA. They've been hovering around like 17 to 22. But Byard should help a lot. Like cornerback's still an issue, but at least they have safety taken care of with Byard and Reed Blankenship. So I don't think the Redskins are going to have as much success as they did in week 4 when these teams met. But I think they're going to score some points, but I like the Eagles are just going to score in almost every possession. Washington's defense is so bad. I know they have like big names on the defensive front, but their pressure rate is like in the low teens, or I guess the high teens. I think they're like 18th or 19th. And their secondary is just so bad they can't cover it all. They've allowed the most catches of 50 yards or more in the NFL this year. And you have AJ Brown, Devontae Smith just lining up on the other side. Just like you have to kind of wonder how they're going to stop this. There's a chance the Eagles are going to be flat in this game for sure because they have a game against Dallas. They just had a big win on national TV. But I think the fact that they almost lost to this team, the game went to overtime. I think the Redskins might be on their radar. So I would take the Eagles, but I wouldn't bet this game just because there is definitely a chance that the Eagles are going to be flat. The Rams, the Cowboys next. I still love the Rams. They're 6.5. I'm waiting for a 7. The Sharps haven't really weighed in on this. Actually, I think there's some sharp action on Dallas, but not a lot. I think Jacob said this. I think they're waiting for a +7, which could be the case. It could never happen too. Maybe the sports books kind of know that's going to happen. But anyway, like that again, Dallas is in the same situation as the Eagles. Like they didn't have a win last week. Obviously, they were on a bye, but they have to play the Eagles. That's the big game of the year. And they're not getting as much pressure on the quarterback as you would think. They're 18th in pressure rate. Stafford has lost to his 4 losses have been to teams in the top 10 pressure rate, and his 3 wins have been to teams outside of the top 10 in pressure rate. I just think that like the Rams with their receiving core, like they have a good chance to get a backdoor even if they need it. And I don't think they do. And they're pretty underrated. Like they're getting a lot of flack for losing to the Steelers, but they outgain them in yards and yards per play. And generally when that happens, like teams tend to bounce back. Just because like they're better than people think they are. And this line shows that like the fact that like Dallas is 6.5 and there's not public support on the Rams just kind of shows that the public doesn't understand how good the Rams are in comparison to the record. The Rams are an above average team and the Cowboys are also an above average team. Like there's no reason the Cowboys should be -6.5. Like this should be 3.5, something like that. It should not be, there's not that much of a disparity between these two teams. We have Patriots and Dolphins next. This line, what is this line? It was because there's positive Tyreek Hill news that he expects to play after it was kind of questionable. So yeah, this dropped to 9 and it's down 9.5. So yeah, I kind of get like the line movement there. I'm still gonna be on the Patriots. I'm kind of wondering if I should not bet this game just because like I didn't last week, and that kind of like was pretty painful to finally see the Patriots win, and I wasn't betting on them. Um, but like I just think that Miami is just so much better than the Patriots, and Tua Tagovailoa has had Belichick's number for some reason. I don't know why, but he has. I have concerns about Miami's focus here because they have to travel to Germany after this game to take on the Chiefs. Um, but this is a divisional game. They're coming off a loss. There's a chance that they take the Patriots like somewhat seriously after seeing the Patriots beat the Bills. Um, so I have 3 units down for the Patriots. I may not bet this game. Kind of deciding this is like the one game that I'm really like focusing on. I talked about how like I was going to drop the unit in Jaguar Steelers, but that's only 1 unit. Like this is I had this marked down as 3 units, but I just may drop this just because I just think it might be a trap to take the Patriots because like they were so bad against the Dallas and New Orleans, and like those are legit losses. It wasn't like they had fluky things happen to them. Like they were just legitimately much worse than those teams. And yeah, like they should have covered against the Raiders, and they beat the Bills, who were kind of shorthanded and looking ahead to Thursday night. But like the Dolphins are kind of in the class of Dallas, and they're better than New Orleans. So I just don't know if the Patriots could compete with this team. We have Jets Giants. This line moved to 2.5. I don't know why. I want to kind of check the injury report here. I don't know if it's available, but yeah. Okay. So Andrew Thomas has been limited both days. I think that might be a factor. It sounds like Daniel Jones is not going to play. I saw reports saying he's not, like he was limited in practice both days. So I think that yeah, we could see him not misses another start, and it could be Tyrod Taylor once more. And that kind of scares me. Like I know that Tyrod Taylor's kind of played better than Daniel Jones did against Seattle. Like he was so bad in that game. But like Tyrod Taylor is just a backup, and he's going to be playing against one of the top defenses in the NFL. I think the Jets could really clamp down on him and like really frustrate him and force turnovers. Not that Daniel Jones would be much better necessarily, but Daniel Jones has at least yeah, he has more upside than Tyrod Taylor. And he's not a backup. And I just think that the Giants would have a better chance to Daniel Jones than Tyrod Taylor, even though recent results say otherwise. I think it might be like a trap to take the Giants. So I like the Jets even more so 2.5. Obviously, we get the key number of 3, which is like the Jets by 3 is probably the most likely result of this game. All right. Next game, we have Falcons and Titans. So I was talking to Eitan Shander of the Odd Chopper show, which I'll be on Friday. I know he likes Atlanta a lot. I think he bet their money line, which is a smart move because Atlanta kicks so many field goals, and they tend to win by like 1 or 2 points just because of that. But I think Atlanta's going to win. Like betting the 2.5 kind of sucks. Like I would recommend the money line too. I mean, the only concern here I have with Tennessee is like we have an unknown factor with Will Levis, who's expected to start. Like we know Malik Willis sucks. Like if it's Malik Willis, I would definitely be on Atlanta for sure. But I don't know. Will Levis could be good. Like he was bad in the preseason, but so is Anthony Richardson. And then again, like other quarterbacks are great in the preseason and then they suck in the regular season. So like I just don't know what to make of it. We haven't seen him play or like in the NFL, real football. I didn't like him very much coming out of Kentucky. I thought he was just way too raw. But then again, like I've seen raw quarterbacks enter the NFL and do well. It wasn't too long ago that like obviously Justin Herbert, the much better prospect because he went a lot higher. But everyone thought Justin Herbert was raw coming into the NFL. They're like, oh, Justin Herbert's going to take 2 years to get ready, and like, and like he went toe to toe with the Chiefs in his first start, like, and he had a great rookie year. So like, it wouldn't shock me if like Will Levis is like ends up being good. We just don't know. Like, I think there's a better chance that he sucks, obviously, but he's he's just an unknown. And also Mike Vrabel's 5-0 against the spread off a bye. So like that's a worry as well. I don't know. I just think that Atlanta's a better team though. I know they're 4-3, but like they should have beaten Washington. Like they outgained Washington by 200 yards, and against Tampa, they fumbled at the one twice. Like they could have won that game by 2 touchdowns. And if they did, like this line would be at least 3, So I think that this is mispriced for how bad Tennessee is at the moment and how good Atlanta has been. In the final game of the early slate, we have the Vikings and the Packers. The Vikings are now -1. I think it's because Jair Alexander missed practice on Thursday, which is a concern because I thought he'd be able to, play and cover Jordan Addison. And now he's not going to be there, which is like opens up Addison for a big game. So I still like the Packers though. Like the Vikings are coming off a big win on Monday night. I think like they could be flat here. It's a short work week for them. The Packers haven't played at home in a while. The last time they played at home was, I think, was it week 4 against Detroit on Thursday night. And Detroit obviously is one of those top 5 or 6 teams. So like they were kind of out of Green Bay's weight class. And then Green Bay lost to the Raiders and the Broncos, which like looks bad. But they had a chance to win at the end of both games. And like if they had won just one of those games, I think we'd be looking at this game a little differently. And if they had won both games, we'd be looking at this game a lot differently because they'd be 4-2 instead of 2-4. So I think the Packers are a little underrated. But I just wish that like Jair Alexander and Devondre Campbell would play. I think Campbell has been limited in practice all week, so there's a chance that he plays. But I don't know. I think that I think I'm still in the Packers for sure. Let's get to the late games. We have Browns and Seahawks. So this line, I talked about why I locked this pick in on Tuesday. I locked it in at -3, and it's now 3.5, which is not a surprise because of the Browns quarterback situation. Deshaun Watson's injured, and he may not even play. It could be Phil Walker, and if it's Walker, the line's going to go to 5.5. But even still, like it's moved to 3.5 for a reason. And it just shows the sports books aren't concerned about getting middled. Like, so Seattle winning by 3 is not too much of a concern. Just like the sports books are confident. They're either confident that Seattle's going to win in a route or that the Browns are still going to cover. So I wouldn't worry about the 3 too much in this situation. But I do think Seattle's the right side just because their defense has been so good. They should be able to limit the Browns' 31st ranked offense. It's an elite defense versus an injured quarterback or a backup quarterback. And that just seems like pretty easy to me. Next game, we have Chiefs and Broncos. I believe this line dropped to 7. Like the Sharps love Denver. I know that's been the case all year, and they've only won once with Denver, and that was last week against the Packers. And that could have been a loss for sure. And the Packers led 17-16 in the fourth quarter. So we have I get the case for it because the Chiefs just beat Denver. They may not take them seriously. After this game, they have to fly to Germany to take on the Dolphins. It's a big game. Could be for the first round bye. So the Chiefs, like they could easily just mail in this game and win by like 6 or 4, like it could be one of those games, but the Chiefs are just so much better than Denver. Like if they're like 90% focused, like they'll be able to beat Denver easily. So it's just like whether it's a matter of like whether you think they're going to be like emotionally ready for this game or not. And it's like I can't make another case for Denver. It's just that emotional thing. Like with other cases, like Rams Cowboys, for example. I think the Cowboys are going to be flat, but I love the Rams for other reasons. I can't think of another reason to take the Denver outside of the Chiefs being unfocused. And like I don't want to bet on a team just for that reason because it's so hard to determine a team's focus. Like we can speculate all we want. Like yeah, the Kansas City probably going to be flat, but like I don't know. What if they just hate Denver so much that they want to beat up on them? Like, definitely possible. So, I don't know. I'm not going to touch this game. This next game is Bengals 49ers. When Jacob and I talked about this, we thought Brock Purdy was going to play, and Brock Purdy's apparently in a concussion. So this line's dropped to 3.5, and I still like the Bengals. I know like elite teams with backup quarterbacks. 2 problems with this though. Like first, the sportsbooks weren't able to make enough an adjustment for this. Like the Niners are still like favored by 3 or more than 3, obviously. If this were like, if they had enough time to make a line for this before setting an original line, like if they made this like Niners -1, like we would have a lot of value with the Niners. But like 5.5 to 3.5 is not like, it's not significant at all. Like 5 and 4 are not key numbers whatsoever. So a move from 5.5 to 3.5 is like pretty irrelevant for the most part. especially considering the quarterback change. So that's one thing. The other thing is like Cincinnati, their defense has gotten a lot better recently. Their pass rush is tremendous, and Trent Williams might be out again. So it's going to be tough. You have a backup quarterback like not getting elite, not getting like very good blocking. Like remember they lost Mike McGlinchey this offseason, so the right tackle situation was already bad. So they're going to have two bad tackles against a great edge rush. Like I think that's going to be problematic for the Niners. So I still like the Bengals. Next game is Ravens Cardinals. Like we had some crazy news here. Kyler Murray might play. They deactivated him, but that doesn't mean he's going to play in this game. And I think it's kind of telling that he's not because this line was like I think it was like 8 or 7.5, and then it popped back up to 9.5 today. And I think that was kind of like someone knowing that Kyler Murray is not going to play. So it's going to be Josh Dobbs for another game against a top defense, which is problematic. This is another one of those situations where kind of like Chiefs Broncos, like the Ravens are coming off a statement win. Now they're playing the stupid Arizona team, a non-conference game that they don't care about. Like what is the focus here for them? I just don't know if they're going to be showing up for this game. If they don't, like Arizona could cover, but like we don't know how Baltimore is gonna like handle this game mentally. Like if they are like remotely focused, then they should be able to beat Arizona pretty easily because Arizona is a lot worse than them. So like the only case you can make for Arizona is Baltimore is not going to be focused, and like that's legitimate, but it's the only thing. And so if Baltimore is focused, then that play is just going to lose right away. Like there's really nothing else for the Cardinals here. Sunday night, so we have Bears and Chargers, and here's a case where we have a big favorite that's not going to be focused either. Like the Chargers had their big game against the Chiefs. They fought to the very end. It was a close game for most of the afternoon. They ended up losing by 2 touchdowns, but like that game was it was tied for a while. And now they're big favorites over a non-conference team. Like this is a situation where the Chargers are not going to play very hard. But like there are other reasons to take the Bears here. Like first of all, this line's way too high. The difference between these teams is not 8.5 points on what's almost a neutral field. The Bears have been playing better defense lately. The Chargers defense still sucks. These teams metric wise are so close to each other. So there's that. And I think that I think that the Chargers have a really bad history of being big favorites. Like Justin Herbert as a favorite of 3 or more is 9-15 against the spread. The Chargers at home are 18-26 against the spread. They just have no home field advantage here. And Chicago has been playing like pretty well lately. If you think about it, like they had a big lead against Denver at home. I know they lost by 3, but like they had the big lead. They crushed Washington. They held Minnesota to 12 offensive points. And then the week after, Minnesota went off against the Niners. And then last week they destroyed the Raiders. And, the Raiders had their backup quarterback, but they beat the Raiders with their backup quarterback by more than the Chargers did with against the Raiders with their backup quarterback too. So, I just think that like these teams are almost even, and 8.5 line is such a joke. I think this line is just way too high. It's out of control. And finally, we have Raiders and Lions. I think this line has climbed to 8.5, if I'm not mistaken. Let me see. Yeah, it's now 8.5. I feel like it's gonna be 9.5 by kickoff. I don't think it's gonna get to 10 because like there's chance for a middle there, sort of. But I think that like the books might think that the sharps might come in on the Raiders at +10, which I could see, I guess. But I just think that like the line's coming off such an embarrassing loss. I think they're gonna be focused. Like this is the one big favorite that's gonna be focused this week, just because like Detroit just got humiliated by Baltimore. They're going to be back at home where they're so much better. The Raiders have they're going to have Jimmy Garoppolo back, but Garoppolo kind of sucks. Like, so I think that Detroit's defense could like tee off on him. The Raiders' offensive line is terrible. Their defense is awful. I just think that this is just a one-sided affair. So I'm pretty confident that the lines are going to cover there. So yeah, those are the Thursday thoughts I have for the Week 8 NFL picks. We'll be back Saturday to talk about the Saturday notes and stuff like that. So yeah, once again, please hit like, subscribe, comment below, share this video, visit the link in the description for the merch store. All that would be appreciated. And I'll talk to you.